Muse Old Prose. I believe he's working on both his second and his third novels, or was it third and fourth? Third, fourth, second.
We're working on.
He's somewhere in his multi-volume career. His writing is an extraordinary combination of a sort of interesting alternative universe and the most intensely realistic and beautiful relationship dynamics. He also has just absolutely stunning hair.
Kenny?
Hey. What?
This is a story. I wrote a short story. It's 3 pages. So, I'm just gonna read it now.
What's it called?
It's called The Last Beat. Last night, she pulled her heart out of her chest and laid it in a pile of newspaper. Carefully and quietly, she wrapped the beating instrument up, labeling it fragile. When done with her heart, she pulled her brain out of her skull. Disconnected, her nerves no longer signaled any pain. Her touch was now blind, for she could no longer feel. But she went on with her plan, her perfectly planned out plan. She placed her brain on the freshly cleaned counter and proceeded to cut it into halves. 2 halves of a broken brain should make up for 1 heart barely patched together. 1 heart that was not stable. 1 heart shattered into a million pieces. 1 heart that tried so desperately to please her master, her selfish master, that despite how harshly she treated Hart still loved her. Maybe it was the bonds of blood that tied them so closely, that tied Hart so closely to the girl. But it wasn't just blood. Hart was her and she was Hart. They were one. But still, the human girl overlooked the fact that Hart clung so closely to her. Hart deeply depended on her. But this betrayal from Hart's master would leave the deepest, cruelest, most brutal scar of them all. Deeper than any kind of scar that her master had ever dealt with, physically or emotionally. And Hart would have to endure it, all of it. Again, the human was a selfish being. However, Hart wasn't aware that she would be the one to suffer through the pain. Instead, Hart was preoccupied, thinking about every good time that she and her master had ever had. The girl's first marathon, and how fast Hart had to beat to support her. Or when she had to pound even faster when her master had her first kiss. Yes, Hart remembered that day clearly. She remembered the sun shining down onto the child's back, and how warm it felt. How warm he felt when the 2 kissed. Hart felt as if warm honey was being drizzled over her small being. How both Hart and her master never wanted the moment to end. But then, months later, Hart underwent her first break. The 2 humans were in the pouring rain at night, and something triggered in the brain of Hart's master. And suddenly, the feeling of warmth that had encased Hart for so long snapped, and Hart seemed to fall apart in the process. After a long healing period, both Hart and her human healed. The girl promised Hart that she would never let her break like that again. The girl made a lot of promises that she would never keep. The night went on. Hart continued to remember her master and her, the way they were together. Now, Hart went on to think of all the grand times the 2 would have in the future. It was Hart's way of coping. "You said you loved me," the girl screamed at the boy across the street from her. "Yeah, well, I said a lot of things that I didn't mean," the boy spat back at her. Hart snapped a little bit at what he said. "Please, don't go." Tears filled the girl's eyes, but it was too late. The boy was already gone. Hart thumped away the memory of her master's last breakup. Heart didn't like to see her human like that. Pitiful, sad, broken. So, Heart tried to heal again, and so she went on with her idea of her and her owner's future. Heart was going to be there for the child every time that she smiled, laughed, cried. They were going to be so happy, together forever. Yes, Heart couldn't wait to feel the warm honey oozing over her small self once more. Heart led through the newspaper, ripping it as her beat went on. It was keeping rhythm with itself, as if in a one-man band. That little heart was so pathetic, sad, restless though. The sad little heart-shaped heart kept beating, breaking. But Heart would never break again, because Heart wanted to prove to her master that she could still depend on Heart. However, Heart didn't know that she would always be fragile, forever fragile. All of the paper finally ripped off of Heart, just as her master was putting the right side of her brain back into her skull. Just the right half meant no more pain, no more memories, no more broken heart. The girl flitted across the room and opened a chest, a brown, wooden, old chest that had never been opened before. She placed her long, skinny fingers into the box and pulled out something steel, silver, shiny and cold, something heart-shaped. Heart watched as her master betrayed her right there across the tiny room. She lifted the metal organ up and placed it into her chest. Heart bled a little bit more. With a wide grin stretched up in front of her now emotionless eyes, she walked forth toward the counter. This was it. Heart knew exactly what was happening. She was going to be put back in her place, and her master was going to love her forever. The warm, sweet, liquid feeling fell over Heart once more. Heart had felt the sun before, but always through her master's skin. However, right now, in the child's hands, Heart knew that this is what the sun would feel like. And oh, it was amazing. It was so exciting. Heart was beating so fast. She never dreamed of being away from her master like she was today. Nonetheless, now that she was about to be put back into the chest of her human, she was overwhelmed. If Heart could cry, she would, but they would be joyous tears. The girl nestled her heart into her hands like they were a bowl, her smooth skin feeling like the definition of love. It felt so good, so familiar. Heart started to beat faster and faster, faster than the day of the human girl's first kiss. Heart felt like she should explode, burst, anything. The girl shifted Heart into one hand and lifted her free hand up to her chest, almost as if she was going to rip the new steel heart out and put her actual one into its rightful place, right next to her soul. But she didn't do that. Instead, she lifted Heart over the trash can. Heart realized what was happening, and she no longer felt the need to explode. She slowed down, in shock of what her mother was doing to her. Heart pounded slower and slower. Tears that would be for sorrow replaced the tears that would have been for joy. The warm syrup was no longer being drizzled, and it never would be again. Finally, without any more blood, Heart broke for the very last time.